No way that you can stop
as we wait on those 5 red lights.
The more that I control the fight, and now you on the ropes. Now you on the ropes, what you gonna do? Quitting's not an option. That voice in your head that keeps telling you you got this, slide to you. And now everybody's watching. You should've worked a little harder, cause man, your punches are garbage. I dream big, ain't that the point of it? Let's keep it real, huh? Ain't that the point of it? They used to tell me I was nothing, nothing. Now they tell me that I'm something. What's it gonna take for you to understand the concept? I ain't really got no time for all the nonsense. See to you this is a joke, a little project. I guess you'll never understand this kind of mindset.
It's lights out here in Poland, here we go.
Oh, he's compromised, he's compromised.
Can he do it all the way around the outside? Colin McAllister, what a move! Hello everybody and welcome along to the ISR AEC for our inaugural round at Poznan in Poland. This just over 4 km track is a phenomenal race circuit, very high rates of speed, and it promises to be a great round one. Obviously the VW Golf Cup actually used to come here when that was ran before the Sirocco Cup replaced it. I'm Toby Byrne, alongside me today is Zach Swader. Zach, what are you thinking about the AIC?
Well, I think it's a fantastic organized championship. We have a lot of talented drivers right here driving these Volkswagen Scirocco's around this track, built around 1977. So it's a very old track, but it's still a very, very technical track, but a bit high speed section too. So who knows, that may play a part with front wheel drive cars, but you never know what you can expect out of this one. But I cannot absolutely wait to see what kind of craziness happens with the first race. Always got to get the first race jitters out of the way. So it should be a pretty interesting race, Toby.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, the first round, these drivers are going to be sizing each other up, getting to know who's who, and adjusting their driver's style. Obviously, all AI running completely equal statistics, so they should always have an answer for each other, which you've seen in pre-season videos. Really does spark up some phenomenal racing, and I can't wait to commentate them alongside you. But until then, let's go and see what happened in qualifying. So, it was the Rothmans SLR driver of Callum Spencer who managed to best everyone in qualifying today and pick up the Riser Studios super pole point with a 136.351. And as you can see, the rest of the top 6 not even covered by a 10th, with Meln Galis for ISR coming in 2nd, Josh Martin for NLR 3rd, Swader for EQU 4th, McBee 5th, followed closely by his compatriot Wood of just 1,000th of a second between the two Americans. Very close battle shaping up for those two as we move on to the second page. Douglas Anderson again just under a 10th of a second, and Evan Imre for Force Fizzy just over a 10th of a second ahead of Danny Diaz and Nickel Foggy. Stephen Paul and Gareth Lennon follow him very closely. Still everyone under 0.2 of a second. Really impressive stuff from these guys to be so close to each other's times. Move on to the third page, we have Andrew Pavia just 1,000th of a second ahead of Christopher Pettersson. Just ahead him is his teammate Valeria Campagnari, and behind him is not Martinson for Force Fizzy. Colin McAllister and Craig Evans line up next. Isle of Base struggling very early in the season for qualifying pace, and they will be hoping to improve that come round 2. The final page sees Ross McFarlane again struggling, and Toby Byrne, who was only able to get a single qualifying lap in this session. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't a very good one, which sees him almost half a second down off the leader's pace going into race 1. So Zach, those are our qualifying results. What are you thinking ahead of the race? Who's the one to look out for?
Right now, for me, it's going to have to be Callum Spencer. He has got the edge going into the pole position, and at a track like this, you're going to have that very edge indeed, because high speed, never know what's going to happen in the first corner, and it's going to be pure chaotic. And one thing that surprised me, though, is, of course, the newcomer to this league racing is Joshua Wood. Very first ISR series racing in general, and he comes out with a very fantastic qualifying result. Obviously, you're going to have to force be reckoned with to watch out for them. And it's just like you said, Isle of Base need to kind of hopefully step it up themselves. So, yeah, we'll have to see how things go for there.
Yeah, Isle of Base really struggling for early season qualifying pace, unfortunately for them. And we don't know why Bum was only able to get one lap in, but his driver only chose to put one lap in the 15-minute session. But it's Callum Spencer who has the edge as we head off into the race. And we are very, very close to the start of the first ever AIC race here at Poznan, and I could not be more excited. Toby Byrne alongside Zach Swider, they're coming for you as we get onto those 4 red lights. It is lights out and away we go, and Callum Spencer gets the start he needed to, but Josh Martin just behind, already going side by side with Rhinus Melngalis as we come into the first corner. He's going to have to do it all the way around the outside as the Scotsman on the Latvian. It's going to be a very tall order for him to do it around the outside, but is he going to be able to do it? That'd be very impressive for him. No, Rhinus Melngalis manages to just squeeze him out very closely. Following Rhinus Melngalis now is Josh Martin. Behind him is Zach Swider for Team EQU, and I believe Charles McBee for Makayem Brew, and we have some cars looking to make a move up the inside there, but no one really having the bottle, obviously, at first lap. And Zach Swider now looking to have a look up the inside of Josh Martin, but doesn't quite have the bottle to do so, and that has actually meant that Charles McBee is now going to be pressuring Zach Swider coming into the S-bends, and it looks like Zach Swider will just have that attack covered off. As we can see ahead, he tried to make the move, obviously going to the inside line there, but unable to do so. He's now got Joshua Wood to consider as we look a bit further back on the field in a minute. As you can see there, we have the likes of Gareth Lennon, and I believe that's Stephen Paul going to try go side by side, and that's the HTC sponsored car of YMR of Andrew Pavia. He's going to try not to get swamped by the Nemesis Online racing cars right now. Lennon starting to form a little bit of train very early. Stephen Paul right up the back of him there, and Andrew Pavia tries to look up the inside there. As a result, not going to happen for him. As we can see there, that is Christopher Pettersson is now going to take the opportunity to go up the inside of Andrew Pavia.
Bit of contact.
As a result of that, banging doors, but he gets his elbows out, does the Nemesis Online Racing 2-time champion in NOR, and he gets the job done, Zach.
Yes, very good move by Christopher Pedersen right there on Andrew Purvier right there. And as you can see, these cars are just single file, just, first race of the season. You got to make sure you're going up against the competition, learning everyone's moves right now. And it's just, the big story right now is, can we actually go without many incidents being the first race, Toby? And it's very critical with the first race too. And obviously, as you can see, these cars just fantastically driving. As soon as we see one car trying to make his way, it looks like Mel Rose right there. And obviously just trying to, maintain the gap so far. But right now, Calum J. Spencer is really kind of putting a show for these guys right now. Just way out in front right now. It's kind of a Michael Schumacher-esque type of start for the Welshman.
Yes, we do. We know very well that... Oh, contact there between Josh Martin and Rhinus Melngalis. A little love tap to let him know, I'm here, mate. Let's get a move on. Zach Swider's closing in on us. I want to get going. But we do know the Welshman and Sven is very, very good on getting away around turn 1 in a classic Vettel Schumacher-esque way while everyone trips up over each other in turn 2. So the Welshman did exactly everything he needed to do that, as we have a 4-car battle for second place already. Josh Martin is clearly got the better early pace over Rhinus Melngalis as we come down the back straight, but is he going to be able to do anything about it? Surely you'd think he'd have a go going into the final corner, but obviously that would compromise them both going to start-finish straight. So the Scotsman just hangs back a little bit and tries to have a go into turn 1. Will he be able to do it though? That is another question, as we have Zach Swider closing up very, very quickly on the both of them. This is an absolute slipstream fest going into turns 1 and 2. The long right-hander almost flat out, a few downshifts just to be sure for these guys, but these guys are absolutely nose and tail, and you kind of think that if Martin was able to make that move into turn 1 on lap 1, he'd be up there with Callum Spencer right now.
Oh, definitely. You know, he got a very good start as well, but Colin Spencer just got an absolutely magnificent start. But there was just a lot of bottlenecking going into the first corner, and that's what allowed Spencer to get ahead of all these guys here. As you can see, Melngala is trying to hold off his lead right there against Josh Martin, and of course, Swader in the back there for EQU. But obviously, you know, just keeping it patient, and we're still early on in the race. It's almost like, you know, it's almost like a sprint race. You know, you want to make your moves, you know, as early as you can, but not make too many early moves as you can and just force any issues like mistake-wise, because you got to really feel the car around. Is your setup going to be good around this track? And, you know, this track, you know, it's very technical, but like I said earlier in the intro, it's very high speed too. And so it really kind of puts a kind of a strain on front wheel drive cars, because front wheel drive cars, you know, you're doing two things at once. You know, the front wheels are doing the power, but also the steering. So that can kind of create some issues. Like, as you can see, Swader for EQ maybe looking to try to get a move on Josh Martin there, but still kind of hanging back though. But still, we got like 4 cars trying to maybe take a battle for second place there, Toby.
Oh, this is incredible, as I think that's Charles McBee thinking about a move into the final corner on Swader. Decided to back out of it for the better of it, and now they're all a bit spread out. But yeah, we can see almost every car as we ride on board with Josh Martin now, and he's just braking that bit early. Obviously, Melngala's a lot more confident on his brakes going into turn 1, but yeah, we can see 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and maybe even 8th, 9th, and 10th, all in this tiny little train. And these guys are mega close together, and like I said, they're all equal statistics. They all know what to do. They're all programmed in the same way, so it's very exciting to see how these guys have to try get very innovative to try make a move on each other. And the only move we've really seen, as we cut to a replay here, Zach, if you'd like to take us through Josh Martin's start.
Yeah, like I said, he got a very good start, and Melngala's just, you know, don't know if he just missed a shift or something like that. But right here, just a few little bottlenecks here, and I think that's kind of what caused Josh Martin not to be up there with Colin J. Spencer right there for the lead right here. Is Melngala just tries to make a move on the inside, does get it done. But, you know, that I feel like it was a very lucky break there for Melngala, because he got a terrible, like, Mark Webber-ish, like, start. So I don't know what happened on the start for Melngala, as we see right back in the action right now of Swader coming in for EQU, maybe trying to make a move on Martin, but I don't know how he can be able to get it done. I mean, both of them seem to be at a pretty equal pace right there, and that's kind of what Melngala kind of wants to see behind him. But behind everyone right now, you got to be thinking Colin J. Spencer has got a smile on his face. That is exactly what he wants to see right behind him. He wants to see everyone behind him trying to make some moves, and that's going to increase his lead over everyone in this entire race. And then he can just run his own race, focus on where the breaking points are. You know, he's got to be very happy right now with his performance so far, Toby.
Definitely, almost a Daniel Ricciardo-esque smile under the helmet of Callum J. Spencer on lap 5 now, as he's got such an amazing gap. He just got everything he needed to do to get out of there. Also gets the extra point for pole position, so very likely to take a completely clean sweep here, as now Melngala, is starting to pull a little bit on Josh Martin, as Martin has stopped driving aggressively and started driving defensively to try hold up the Team EQU car of Zach Swader all over the back of him. He's trying to defend his position, which has allowed Melngala to do, in some ways, a very similar thing to what Callum J. Spencer has done. Callum managed to drive away, get out of the way, as we can see Swader getting very close up the back of that Northern Lights racing car. Unfortunately for him, it's proving a pretty tricky track to overtake in these cars, which is odd, because we usually see a lot of overtaking here at Poznan, but these guys are just rather be safe than sorry right now is what they are going for. But this Martin's defensive driving is allowing McBee and Wood, the newcomer, as you said, the one to look out for, the dark horse, to close right in. And now we have a 4-car battle for third, as Josh Martin just creates the train, and Ryan Melngala goes, thanks a lot, I'm off to see the Welshman.
Indeed, Toby, indeed. As we can see, these cars are now trying to get a little, this looks like some bottlenecking right now going on right now. These guys are just nose to tail, Toby, right now. It is getting very interesting, and I can't wait to see who's going to be the first one to make a move on who. Is it going to be Swader on Martin, or is it going to be McBee on Swader, or is Joshua Wood just going to say, here I come, I'm here to take this ISR race, I'm going to make a name for myself, and it's going to be very interesting right now. And right now, I think if you're Melngala right now, you're thinking, okay, I'm starting to create a gap right now. You know, can we be able to do something with Colin J. Spencer? I'm not exactly sure. We'll just have to see how his pace goes down there. As you can see, McBee maybe trying to look on the inside of Swader right there. I'm not sure if he can get it done. He might fall back in line, But right now, just everybody's, close racing, but everybody's keeping their mind in their P's and Q's right now, just seeing what everyone can do at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody is, like I said, rather be safe than sorry. It's a bit too early in the championship to start throwing away those valuable points. You never know when they are going to come into play. As we can see just behind this top 4, Zach, we can see another 4 lining up, which is the battle, I believe, for, that will be 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, so about 7th. So incredible racing for everybody going on the field in this midfield. The midfield is that Josh Wood going up the inside of Charles McBee. Ooh, very, very close, but McBee was able to hold it around the outside as we ride on board, and McBee is so close to the back of Swader. I think that actually might compromise him, as we see Wood closes right up on the back of Charles McBee, but nowhere to go with it, so he has to back out of it as we come through the flat S-bend section into the next corner. Josh Wood desperately now trying to get past Charles McBee, but it's just not happening. There's 3 Americans in a row here being held up by a Scotsman, and the Scotsman certainly isn't the flying Scotsman, but he's definitely a train. Oh,
definitely. He's going to be happy with this performance right now. He's enjoying what he's seeing behind him, because that's, like I said, it's going to try to create a gap and hopefully get up to Raymond Mangales right there in second. As we take a look right now, Joshua Wood trying to maybe pace out what he can do with McBee. But, like you said, it's very interesting that we haven't seen a lot of passing opportunities right now. And that could be also a possibility with these cars, different, like you said at the intro, the Golfs used to race around here. And these cars do act differently. They might be like the same kind of performance as we go through the field right now. We're looking at, Craig Evans hopefully trying to make a move right there. He's, trying to make up for his terrible qualifying position, Toby. And it seems to be that he's maybe trying to get some moves if he can. Don't know. What do you think about that so far on Craig Evans?
So Craig Evans trying to get the move done on Valerio Campagnari, the Italian. Nemesis Online Racing for this championship have fielded the only champions that they could fodder. They had the choice of Milan Tifosi from their F1 leads, but he opted not to, so they went with their only evers. This is the only 2, Christopher Pedersen, Valerio Campagnari, the only 2 double NORL champions in the Nemesis Online Racing's history, which is quite impressive, but they're having a tough old day at the office as Campagnari is hanging on for dear life in that bright red car, trying to hold up the Isle of Bays car behind him, holding on for absolute dear life. But yeah, Isle of Bays, such bad qualifying pace. They just didn't have it here at Poznan today, and they won't get points unless they get to the top 10, and you kind of feel he needs to get a move on if that's on the board today.
Yeah, indeed, and Craig Evans is probably going to be under attack from Colin McAllister, another Scotsman, with his car right now. He's looking to see if these two make a mistake trying to work on each other right now. He's kind of what we call in America the catbird seat right now. He's waiting for see who can make a move on who.
Yes, as we move on to lap 7 now, then a little bit further ahead, we can see Evan Imre under attack from Douglas Anderson. So another Scottish battle, Zach, as we come into this area. This has been building up for quite some time. Douglas Anderson wanting to get past that very bright coloured Force Fizzy car. Definitely contrasting colours, as you can see, the very bright standing out Mild 7 tribute of the Force Fizzy compared to what you had to say would be somewhat plain YMR. This battle is just building, but the main thing about this, Zach, it looks like these guys are actually closing up on that battle for 3rd place. If you look just ahead, I believe those 4 cars are our 4 battling for 3rd right now.
I do believe indeed, as we take a look right now at our leader, Colin J. Spencer, really building his lead right now on Raymond Mangales right now. Like we said, he's just ran his race. He got the lead like he planned. He's stuck to it, and he's been hitting his marks just really well. He's really doing maybe from a Schumacher to Ayrton Senna type deal as we go on board. Maybe trying to go right now, Douglas Anderson trying to make a move. Douglas Anderson is one of those guys, he's well known. He's done a lot of races in his career, both physically and, of course, in the first time being an AI championship here. But, if you're Douglas Anderson right now, you're wanting to put on a show, to try to please the fans of this Ulan Motor Racing, a very interesting name. But, with a lot of teams, it is a very interesting name. We have a lot of very well-talented people right now. But, just riding on board, Toby, look at the way these cars just move around this track. Like I said earlier, they look like they're very stiff. But sometimes that is a very good thing, because that means you don't have any unnecessary, maybe, unpredictability is making. Whoa, okay. Douglas Anderson is just like, please, get out of my way, please. I have a race to attend. As you can, the words of Prof from Tuned. But in all honesty, though, it's been a very good showing for all of these guys right here. As we're going back up, it looks like Wood may be trying to pace out a move for Swader, and Swader looks like he's trying to make a move on Martin here. A lot of battles right now, Toby, and I've been really impressed with everyone right now. But it seems like Joshua Wood may be kind of laying back just to see, maybe kind of take a deep breather. You know, his first actual race with ISR. You know, it's gonna get interesting watching him move forward as we go through the season here for Joshua Wood.
Yeah, Josh Wood is struggling to maintain pace with this train right now. The Martin Monorail is what we're going to go with for this name. But yeah, Josh Wood is struggling to keep with the back of Charles McBee, who is all kinds of pressuring Zach Swader right now. And maybe this is the opportunity Josh Martin needed. He needs the compatriot of Swader to just have a nibble at the heels of Swader so he can try get up and get back in the battle for second. And look how close Swader was there to the back of Martin. So Swader is not driving defensively at all. He thinks his best target, the best defense is offense right now for Zach Swader. If he can get past Josh Martin, it will be like the cork in the bottle, and he'll just be able to get out of this sticky situation. But Josh Martin has good pace, but it looks like the guys behind him just have better pace right now. And like I said there in the background, again, you can see Imre and Anderson both closing up. There's going to be so many cars battling over a podium here. And it is really impressive, like you say, how much battling we've got going on. But despite the battling, everyone is so good at defensive driving that it's really causing a bit of problems for everyone to try get through here. And Wood, again, struggling, and maybe will fall back into the clutches of Evan Imre in the next couple of laps. But we are on lap 9 of 14 now, and it's crunch time. These guys need to get a move on, Zach.
Indeed, it's like the last few laps, you're going to have to start, throwing all the way the conservative now. You're starting to understand your opponents now. Now it's time to make a move. We're only going to be maybe like the final maybe 6 to 7 laps. And it's just, when do you make the move, Toby? Do you try to do it now, or maybe try to save something for the last 2 or 3 laps and then go extremely defensive? Because like you said, everyone seems to be very good on defensive driving. So, but if you're like in the name of Swader's case, maybe your best defense is the offense, because just watching all these guys go around this track, it just seems to be, what do I need to do? I've got a guy in front of me, but I got a guy behind me. You're in that sandwiches. So we look at Charles McBee trying to make a move on Swader down the inside, and he's just going to fall back in line. So trying to maybe scan out a productive moment, but he'll probably fall into the clutches of Josh Wood now, as he may have overdone that attack on Swader right there, as he's going to be in the clutches of Joshua Wood now. So very interesting move from McBee there. So I don't know if that's going to cost him a chance to try to battle out with the rest of these guys there, Toby. But yeah, very, very interesting move there from McBee, trying to maybe make something on Swader right there.
Yeah, well, I would say if I was in this race, which my AI counterpart is, but if I was these guys right now is crunch time, because if you leave it too long, you're going to completely run out of grip on your tyres to be able to make a move. So I'd say get past, use everything you have now while you have the tyre life to do so, and just try run away with it as the lovely plane flies over our little battle there.
Got a GTA right there.
That would be a lovely view for any passengers on board that as we come underneath the bridge and head into the back corner. And Wood, definitely, this is the opportunity. Maybe he was just saving his tyre life a little bit to have a go at these guys right towards the end. But that was the opportunity, and we can see the battle for third, Martin, Swader, McBee, and Wood as we all battle into turn 1. But the problem that McBee had there, he needed to get past Swader. He tried it and it didn't work, and that caused him to have to go defensive into the slow S-bend section, which really hindered his pace. But he has been able to catch up to Swader fairly quickly, you have to say straight again, which shows Martin is just running out of time. He's running out of grip, and he's had the pace. We saw very early in the race he was able to attack Melngalis. It looks like Melngalis has very good long run pace, Zach, as he's actually managed to pull away as the race goes on, and tried his best to catch the Welshman. But the Welshman just had an absolutely perfect start, absolutely perfect qualifying, albeit only half a tenth, and not even, like, under half a tenth of a second between the top two, which is great. You can actually kind of see him up ahead in the shot for that battle anyway. But these guys all very close together. Evan Imre and Douglas Anderson aren't actually battling, Zach. If you've noticed over the last couple of laps, they've just been using each other as a train to try catch up to this group, which is pretty good. And Zach Swader very close to the back of Josh Martin now. Is he going to have the opportunity? We go on board with Zach Swader coming through the final corner, and Martin does what he needs to do, holds the inside line, but now Zach surely will have an opportunity going into turn 1 if he has the bottle to do so, as it looks like Josh Martin has quite a lot of top-end speed despite that slipstream. Slipstream not looking very effective in these Sirocco Cup cars, Zach, and it's causing a bit of issues for Zach Swader to get past into turn 1, and he has to be creative, like McBee tried to be creative, but obviously we saw that doesn't always work. And just another thing to point out, Zach, Meln Galis over the last couple of laps has just been reeling in Callum Spencer by a few tenths per lap, but you'd have to say, this late in the race, he'd be a bit hard-pressed to do that.
Indeed. I wonder if he's decided, I wonder if I can be able to maybe tack on a few fast laps if he can catch up to the Welshman, though, of Raymond Mangalis. But I don't know if he'll have enough time, if the car has the performance, or if Colin J. Spencer is just saving, just not trying to push the issue of maybe going, try to increase his lead over the over Raymond Mangalis right there. It just, it's just a hit and miss kind of situation. You got to make your move, and then you got to have a plan, and then you got to stick with it, because, you never know what's going to happen here too. And that's just motor racing in general here. You want to have a plan, but expect the unexpected, Toba. We've seen, me and you, huge Formula One fans, we've seen races where the driver has everything. It's like a perfect weekend. And next thing you know, an engine blows, a tire goes up. You never know what's going to happen. So, but talking about Josh Martin, though, you said he's got a lot of speed on the straightaways. I just wonder if he's like having a lot of slow issue turns right now, because he's maybe running like a very high speed setup. So that might be hindering him in the corners as we kind of look right now. Raymond Mangalis right now in second place, hopefully with 2 laps to go, hopefully reel in the Welshman. But I don't know if it's going to have enough time right now. But Josh Martin could be running like a higher speed setup, maybe low down for a setup. But it just depends on what kind of setup he's running right now. So we take a look right now. Some of the other guys right now through the field, we're looking at Danny Diaz, another driver for EQU, is under pressure right now. Danny Diaz, Mexican-born racer right now, looking to make his name right now, and he's kind of like learning the ropes right now. It seems he's been minding his P's and Q's right now. I don't think he's ever had any racing experience before this, so there's a very interesting decision from Team EQU to bring up a up and comer like this, but you need the experience right now. It looks like he's already had a few hits, as you can tell from the back end of that beautiful looking Volkswagen Scirocco of Team EQU, the black and orange paint scheme right now. Bit of a dent in that rear end where that Aerogas logo is, Toby. So obviously somebody's either gotten a bit impatient, or maybe Danny Diaz has maybe missed a few braking points here and there. But interesting decision right now. But right now, the man right now is Colin J. Spencer. He has had the absolute most perfect weekend so far. He got the pole, a fantastic start, and honestly, he's going to be happy right now. Colin J. Spencer is going to take the win for the opening race here, the ISR AI Championship, Toby. What a weekend for Colin J. Spencer.
He could not have done anything better, could he? He just got away when he needed to, while Martin and Meln Galis tripped over each other going into turn 1. It was an absolutely perfect scenario for the Welshman. He takes those 25 points, plus the extra point for the Riser Studios Super Pole point. So great stuff from Spencer. Meln Galis did catch him at the end. He really started putting in the times, but like you said, Spen had settled down. Meln Galis not knowing how to give up, so great stuff from him. Just a little bit on that Diaz, and that was Nickel Foggy, role reversal, so NLR attacking an EQU rather than defending from one. Role reversal then. I did see damage on the front of Nickel Foggy's front splitter, so I think he was just a lot better on the brakes than Diaz was, and they just gave a little bit of a love tap to each other. But yeah, Callum Spencer does an insane job, really does well for his team, and really puts his mark down on the AI Championship. If he can keep putting in performances like that, then wow, we may have our champion already. But 7 rounds to go, and this time next week in Germany, it could be a completely different story. So let's go take a look at those race results then, as it was Callum Spencer who managed to take the win Absolutely perfect performance from him. He was ahead of Rhinus Melngalis for ISR, who it was Josh Martin in the end managed to hold on to that third place from Sweder. Sweder struggled to get by, in the end wasn't able to find the pace to do so. Charles McBee held on and held off Josh Wood, as did Imre over Douglas Anderson. Danny Diaz won that little scrap at the end to do an incredible job and hold off Nickel Foggy. Nickel Foggy very experienced in these kind of cars, so we'll be looking out for him in the near future. Next up was Stephen Paul, who managed to beat Andrew Pavia, who, mentioning it, Zach, Andrew Pavia was able to get past both Christopher Pettersson and Gareth Lennon in the standings in the race, so we missed that, but Andrew Pavia managing to gain 2 positions throughout that race, whether them two had issues, as Pettersson dropped quite a few places ahead of his teammate Valeria Campagnari. Craig Evans then came up, poor pace for him at the end of the day, and as it was for Colin McAllister, then Ross McFarlane following Colin McAllister ahead of Nut Martinson and Toby Byrne. And Zach, those aren't 2 names you'd expect to finish last and second to last.
No, they're not, Toby. Of course, you know, everybody knows him as Fisky Fan from the AOR side of things for all the league racing. And Toby Byrne, you know, he's one of the top drivers from the ISR, you know, early days. He's one of the founding people of ISR, and you know, this is a very, very unfortunate weekend for him. Hopefully he can get something going and not have a McLaren Honda type of season right now where everything just seems to be going wrong right now. But Toby, I think this race right here, if anything that we've seen from this first race, we are going to be for one heck of a season, Toby. I cannot wait to see where this goes down. Right now, Toby, who's your driver to look for besides Comte Spencer with the perfect weekend? Who's kind of on your radar right now, Toby?
I mean, it's very, very hard to tell. Obviously, on the first race, there was some great defensive driving from Josh Martin. Obviously, Josh Martin, a very well-known name in the UK world of sim racing, so it's great to have him aboard the AIC. Great defensive driving from him, but what you have to say, he did create a bit of a train in that race. So he got the job done, got the podium needed to done, but I mean, it's so hard to take it away from anyone but Callum Spencer. It was nice to see Rhinus Melngalis did refuse to give up and tried his best to make amends for almost losing second immediately off the grid. It's hard to tell who to look out for this early in the season, but I'm very hard pressed to say anyone but Callum Spencer. in all honesty, you know, he did exactly what he needed to do, and that is vintage Gran Turismo 6 days of Callum Spencer's performance there.
Indeed, you know, I've raced with him, you know, with his physical, you know, actual driving, and he is one tough person to keep up with. When he figures out a car and he's on a track that he absolutely loves, he is a very, very tough person to catch up to. Like I said, a very, very Senna-like type of driving today. Just gets the job done, and you don't even see him right now. He's kind of pulling like the Sebastian Vettel early days of Red Bull, where he's like 17 seconds ahead throughout the race. But yeah, very fantastic performance for the Welshman.
So as we look at our driver standings, they are the same as your race results, obviously, but as we look to the more interesting side of things, the team's standings, it's Rossman's SLR who lead the way with a full 26 points. Callum Spencer doing all the work for SLR today, as Gareth Lennon failed to score any points, having a miserable weekend, first time out in Poland. ISR come up next with their 18 points. Again, Rhinus Melngalis being the only point scorer amid Byrne's problems. Next up came at Northern Lights Racing, which are our first team to score with both cars. Josh Martin and Nickel Foggy doing a great job for each other. Solitary point for Nickel Foggy. Our second team of both cars scoring points was Team EQU. Danny Diaz scoring 2 points on his debut. Zach Sweder scoring 12. Next up, Kim Mackay and Brew with 10 points. A sole job from Charles McBee to get them up into 5th straight away in the championship. GTFG had a good day from Joshua Wood, a very dark horse who managed to come into this series and has just got the work in, proving that GTFG were in a good mindset to sign him earlier this season. And then we have Force Fizzy coming up with 6 points, all contributed by Evan Imre and Nut Martinson, just not showing up this weekend. And Yulon Motor Racing then are the guys in last position with Douglas Anderson getting all 4 points. Andrew Pavia again, he did make some moves in the race. We believe we were unfortunate not to catch those, but just didn't have the pace to be in the top 10 today. So it's Callum Spencer then who leads the way, the man who has struggled as of late for pace in the newer games of the ISR of the ISR Fairy Tale, the Project Cars, the Assetto Corsa. He's struggled for pace, he's kind of dropped off. Is this the return from the mighty Welshman? It certainly could be. I've been Toby Bird, that's been Zach Swader. Thank you ever so much for watching, and until next time out in Germany, goodbye.